Hello there, good afternoon and welcome to The Pulse. We are coming to you live from our studios in Kukumlimle on your digital terrestrial TV because we are free to air on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 144. We are indeed your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. This afternoon, exactly 3 weeks after the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council introduced its flagship operation Clean Your Frontage, we find out if the campaign is actually working. Well, government is in search of solutions to address the country's water crisis blamed mainly on illegal mining and other forms of human activity polluting our water bodies. And New Patriotic Party warns its chairman at the local level against hoarding of nomination forms as the NPP's internal reorganization gets underway with chaos in parts of the country. As always, I'm Blessed Sugan. The Pulse is brought to you by Global Communities Dignilu, Affordable Safe Sanitation. Remember that we are streaming live on YouTube and all of our social media handles. It's at JoyNews on TV, Twitter us with the hashtag The Pulse. My personal handle is at Blessed Sugan. Always a pleasure serving you here. Well, here's what we know. It's been 3 weeks since the official rollout of Clean Your Frontage, and yet JoyNews' checks reveal that the policy aimed at the president's vision of making Accra the cleanest city in Africa, actually, is experiencing a very slow takeoff. Now, the Kaneshi Lorry Terminal is one of the busiest spots here in Accra, and it's fast becoming a dumping site in spite of numerous attempts to keep the area clean. Here's what we found out when we hit the streets of Accra today. Well, it's been 3 weeks since the official takeoff of Operation Clean Your Frontage. Government explains that it's targeting to achieve the president's vision of making Accra the cleanest city in West Africa. The operation is being enhanced across all districts here in the Greater Accra region with a directive to the local authorities to ensure that they rid the various municipalities and districts of filth and ensure sanitation. But it appears that after 3 weeks of takeoff, the situation is not getting any better. We're here at a Metro Mass Transit point at the Kaneshi Lorry Terminal where the situation is not looking good. You can see right here, garbage gathered right in front of a Metro Mass bus where persons and commuters have been complaining about the experience almost on a daily basis. You can just come with me so we get an understanding of what's happening in here. Let's interact with some of the people who on a daily basis visit this place to understand what exactly is happening. You can come on board with me. Let's interact with some of the people who are here. And of course, I have one of my good friends who's on board already. Good morning to you, sir. Welcome to JoyNews. What can you say about what's happening right in front of the lorry terminal?
Okay, I'm here boarding a car from Kaneshi to Winneba. She never told me na keshi joy idole shikbon ni kawokwe ehinkra ngomenu watalole mi ehun fun ya wo mi ojuba wo mapa ni amna lo eke menu ko eneke nuchumo amekwe ni ambalo jo ene ye bi ene ni fali fe mo aba jaga mekenu nuchumo ko iba ke ake clean your frontage wo ka clean frontage ni wo jigbe ike no ba ifi ba nike ije no ko ni ba wa wo mapa fa ni amna lo ako ni abalo jo ene ni washinle ayumani yerado.
And he's not actually the only one in all of this. There are more persons who are complaining about this, asking that the authorities need to do something about this. Hello, sir. Welcome to JoyNews. What can you say about what's happening
right in front of the terminal?
Okay. To me, I think it's a very bad attitude. Like where people commute, you understand, having this kind of rubbish like packed here. You see, people sell, people eat here, and then we are saying that we want to cap the disease and make Accra the neatest. Yeah. So we need to actually get rid of all these things. Like the authorities should come to do everything like possible to clear these things.
Now I know that a lot of people come here. This is a very well-known terminal. You've also been boarding car here for quite some time now. How bad is the situation?
It's very bad. Like it's very bad. Like seeing the heap of rubbish packed here. It's very bad. Like it's nothing to write home about.
The complaint we hear is that it's not necessarily being generated by the commuters, and that it may be some persons outside from here. What more do you know about that?
Actually, I can't really tell, but I don't know if like it's not really about the commuters, but I think like even if it is the commuters who are bringing it, I'm sure if the authorities who are responsible for these things are on their toes, like before the wake of everyone, like before everyone gets up to go on his normal duties, all these things has been cleared. You understand? Exactly. So I think the sanitation ministry and everything is responsible for these things. So before the day comes, you are supposed to know that these things has to be cleared.
How about the aspect of individual responsibility? The claim is that at least you should also be concerned as an individual and you should take on the authorities of the Metro Mass Transit. Have you tried talking to them? What do they tell you?
Actually, I think that being an individual or something, you see, you in person, you should know that you can also do something to help yourself. You understand? So if the authorities are not coming to help, you can also do something to help. For instance, you have something that you've eaten, and then you see, instead of you dropping it, thinking someone will come and clear it, you see, just put it in the car, okay? And then I'm thinking that the Metro Mass, the terminal, those who are responsible for this thing too, they should also like do something, because this is where they have their business. So you clear your area, and then you don't necessarily depend on the general sanitation office to come and clear things for you. If you clean it for yourself, it will be better than allowing people to actually come to your aid before you clear your things. But I think it is the mindset. You need to clean yourself, and then someone can help you to clean it all.
Yeah, it's affecting us. Considering we passengers, when we board a vehicle, the stench emanating from the refuse, it's not nice. We don't feel comfortable. So I'm pleading with authorities, to the AME or whoever is in charge, to do well and clear it off, because it's making us uncomfortable. Long wait in the vehicle, in addition with the stench, Charlie, we are suffering. So whoever is in charge should do well and clear the refuse dump from there. We'll be very glad.
I see that you normally use this terminal, and how much of a problem is it? Is it a constant thing?
It's a constant thing. You feel so uncomfortable. Besides, the vehicle doesn't get full on time. So you'll be in the vehicle for 1 hour, 2 hours sometimes, depending on the days. Sometimes, some days it gets full on time, sometimes it doesn't get. So whilst you are in the vehicle, the stench also keeps getting into the vehicle. Health-wise, your health is at risk, because a lot of bacteria emanating from the stench and everything is at risk. So I'm pleading with the authorities to do something about it, because health-wise we are all affected. You come here, you wait, you go home, and you fall sick out of this rubbish and everything. So whoever is in charge should do all and work on it. Yeah, that promise, I don't know how far we did, but the Accra being the cleanest city, I don't think it has been achieved. No, not at all. When you go around Accra, it is still the same old filth that has engulfed the city. Accra is nothing to write home about with regards to sanitation. So as for the president promised, I don't think he has achieved it, not at all. So he has a lot of work to do, especially with sanitation. The sanitation issue in Accra is getting worse by the day. So the president should sit up. I don't know how he's going to do it, but with his sanitation ministry and whatever ministry that he came and he put together, they have a lot of work to do. They are not doing anything at all. They should sit up because the sanitation issue in Ghana is getting worse by the day, and health-wise, people are falling sick by the day. So the president promised on making Accra the cleanest city in Ghana or West Africa or whatever it is. You should sit up if he really wants to achieve it before his end of tenure. Yeah.
Right. So that's it. I don't need to say it myself. You've heard from all the commuters here indicating that if you're right here at the Kaneshie terminal of the Metro Mass Transit Limited, then it will definitely mean that you will, of course, require a lot of courage to continue to stay in this vehicle, because apparently what's in front of this lorry terminal is nothing to write home about. There are calls on authorities to try as much as possible to clear the filth that is right here at the Kaneshie MMT transit point. So all of the filth that you see there, this is where it all comes to. This is supposed to be the AMA office complex, but it's become an abandoned project, and yet the sanitation officials within the Accra Metropolitan Assembly are using this facility as a temporary spot to collect all of the filth that we gather, that is being gathered by the officials, the sanitation officials within the municipality. This is the coordination point, and then from here Zoomlion and other sanitation service providers take this off from here to wherever it needs to go to. But there are concerns as well that this place is becoming a hideout for miscreants, and not only that, even the filth that's supposed to be taken away is not being done on time. And fortunately, we have some of the officials here who have been providing us with explanations as to what exactly the case is with regards to the Operation Clean Your Frontage here within the Kaneshie area. Let's speak to one gentleman who's a unit committee member here. Good afternoon to you, sir, and welcome to JoyNews.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon to you.
Okay. What's your name, sir?
My name is Michael Nikote.
Michael, so here we are, and obviously what we see behind us is nothing to write home about. There are complaints that the Operation Clean Your Frontage is not taking off as it should within the Kaneshie area. What do you have to say about that?
Okay, I don't have much to say, but what I will say is, it's like a habit of Ghanaians. We initiate a program, and just 1, 2, 3 days, they all relax. As you can see here, actually it's not like this. They normally, every morning, the compactor come around and then they collect the rubbish. But then there's a problem. And if there's a problem at all, right now look at what we are facing. And who knows when they will come for it? We don't know. So as I said, I mean, Ghana, we initiate 2, 3, 4 days, then everybody fully comes again. It's
surprising that till date, nothing is being done about the one that has been collected for the past week. What have you engaged the officials? What do they tell you about why we still have this here? Is there a problem?
Okay, actually, I don't think this thing has been here for more than days. It's only this morning. They normally bring them here this morning, then the compactor will be here and takes it away. But as we asked them, and they were saying there's a problem with the compactor. Okay. So that is the main reason why. It's only today. This is not here every day because we have a restaurant here. We will not allow that. So it's only today, as we are seeing. But we need to have a backup plan. Because till now, even if you got the time, and nothing is being done about it, I don't know. We don't know what to say.
How would you describe, I mean, persons within your locality, are they responding to this whole Operation Clean Your Frontage? Would you say that they are responding to it?
Yeah, I would say they are really responding to it. But I think AMA has much to do. Because I know it's a program that they are enforcing. And it must be enforced because you have to respect it. You have to subject to it. So some are doing, some are not doing it. But if authorities will really stand up and say no, even if every week or every something there will be a sermon or whatever to help, it will be very good. But actually it's going on well. It's going on well, yeah. People are cleaning.
Okay. Yeah. But what needs to be done is the collection and all of that. And in fact, this is supposed to be, the building itself is supposed to be the Accra Sub Metro Complex. Yeah. Tell us about it. We understand it's rather becoming a place for miscreants. What do you have to say about that?
With this building, I think only, unless God comes, if I may say so. We had it on the news. We said a whole lot. And the police was here, the AMA was here. I mean, they were here and they do what they have to do. Just within 2, 3 days, no, the people are here again. And there's nothing going on. I've called on AMA several times. No, I mean, there's nothing. People are not bathing in the offices. Where they said they'll be using for office, people are bathing there.
Well, so that's the situation within the Kaneshie area. Obviously, we're asking that big question this afternoon. Is Operation Clean Your Frontage really working? Just 3 weeks after the rollout of the program. Fortunately, we've been joined by Yao Atahin, who's chairperson for the Coalition of NGOs in Water and Sanitation, CONEWAS. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us here on The Pulse. First of all, what's your impression 3 weeks after the official commencement of Operation Clean Your Frontage?
Well, thank you very much, and good afternoon to our viewers. Let me say that I have not been impressed, particularly with, what I have seen so far. And my concerns have been excellently captured by the people you have already interviewed. Look, the difference between us and the advanced countries, it's simply a matter of systems and enforcement. And so we are able to introduce very good initiatives. And then we launch it with pomp and pageantry. And then after that, the systems to sustain the program, it's not there. And therefore, no matter how much you try, you are unable to sustain the effort. Look, we have all applauded the effort of the Greater Accra Regional Minister. This is a very brilliant initiative. And I think that this initiative has to be anchored within established institutions.
And I was just about coming there, because from the start, when the piloting commenced, we saw a lot of people latch onto the program, laud the Greater Accra Regional Minister for it, and that's why we're where we are today. So how come all of a sudden we're seeing a U-turn on the streets?
Because you see, like I was saying, the initiative is brilliant, driven by the regional minister. But you see, for such a major program to succeed, you need to anchor it within established institutions and ensure that it is not only the regional minister who is seen to be pushing this agenda. All other relevant institutions must be brought on board to ensure that the fight is won. Perhaps we need a presidential initiative on this. I am yet to hear the president instruct all the metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies that this is the agenda we are pursuing. We want to make Accra the cleanest city in Africa. So this is your task. If you don't deliver, you have no business being in that metropolis or municipality or the district.
But I guess the president's position is quite known on this. He's brought out that grand vision of making Accra the cleanest city in Africa, and that's what needs to trickle down. Why then go back and be fixated on what the president should do at this point?
I agree with you. This is a brilliant proclamation, making Accra the cleanest city in Africa. Very brilliant. But do we have the institutions to ensure that Accra really becomes the cleanest city in Africa? Are we putting in place adequate resources? Are we prioritizing sanitation enough? Are we doing the behavior change communication campaign? Are we even ensuring that we carry citizens along? If we don't do some of these things, it will be difficult for us to be able to achieve results. I have been particularly concerned about sustainability, because if we allow only the regional minister to be pushing this, what if the regional minister is not there, next year? What happens to this fight? And that's why I think that it should become part of the medium-term development framework of all the metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. That way, you are sure that all the assembly members are supporting it. They will allocate resources for it. They will plan to ensure they deliver on it. Otherwise, it will become a one-man fight.
So what's the clear solution here? You want a policy document on Operation Clean Your Frontage. Is that particularly what you're asking for?
Excellent. That is my first call. Do we have a blueprint for Operation Clean Your Frontage? When we say the frontage, it even has to be defined. Do we have some time frame for delivering this? Where is that plan? We need a plan. With a plan, it is easy for you to even market it to development partners who are willing to support various aspects of it. But if you don't do that, then it becomes a very difficult one. Look, we have allowed
This is where
sanitation to
this is
generate
the
so bad
right. This is the
that we
point at
need
which
to do the right things.
this is the point at which the sanitation ministry comes under sharp focus. The fact that, well, if you look at the ministry that's spearheading the Operation Clean Your Frontage, this has been done by the Regional Coordinating Council. How about the sector ministry or agency itself and their responsibility? How about that?
And I think that should tell you about the way we go about coordination and harmonization in our ministries and our agencies. If you ask me, I am not convinced that the ministry is so very much involved in this right from the planning stage. And I think that is what should have happened. In any case, the ministry is only, a body that is supposed to, bring out policies and ensure that the policies are implemented to benefit the citizens. But the actual work has to be done by the MMDAs. And that is why we have been calling for the establishment of the National Sanitation Authority. With the authority, I believe that the planning will be solid, implementation will be solid, they will attract the right kind of resources, both human and material, and be able to prosecute the agenda from a purely non-partisan, point of view. And I think that we need to have that sanitation authority implemented as soon as possible.
I don't intend to be political about this or partisan about it, but obviously there are comparisons already going on as to which would be the best approach. The every Saturday policy, which was introduced under the SWA administration, and what we have now, Operation Clean Your Frontage. Which of them is the best strategy in confronting or tackling issues of sanitation in Accra? Because the argument has been advanced that if we become repetitive about the campaign, just as we've seen in the first Saturday policy, we don't even need enforcement persons going on this whole campaign of Operation Clean Your Frontage. What's your take on that?
If you ask me, I think that we need both. If for nothing at all, the first Saturday of the month initiative was good because then it created that kind of awareness for everybody to know that, oh, today is the first Saturday, we need to do something. It triggered the consciousness of the citizen to act. There are aspects of this one which I believe are also good. So for me, let's go back to the basis. Let's integrate the two and ensure that we are able to deliver, as expected. But we cannot throw away this. There are very beautiful initiatives that we can draw from this. But definitely, I will agree with you that the first Saturday initiative was also a very good one, if we do it well.
And the question out there is, really, is this a feasible target of making Accra the cleaner city in Africa? How far are we away from that grand vision that we've seen the president expound on a number of occasions? We've seen the president talk about that. He seems to be convinced about it, his ministers as well. But how far are we from achieving that vision from where you are standing as NGOs in water and sanitation?
We are very, very, very far away from it. Very, very, very far away. And I must be frank with you. Look, to be able to do this, it doesn't just happen in a vacuum. You need to ensure that you prioritize this and make it a national development agenda. Then you allocate adequate resources for it. You have to ensure that you are able to enforce the laws, the bylaws, and the regulations that we have. You have to ensure that the human resources are available for this. You have to ensure infrastructure is laid out. There are a whole lot of things to be done. If you look at the countries who are already ahead of us, they are very, very much ahead of us. And it will take us redoubling our efforts and doing the right things to be able to arrive at this. But so far, from what I am seeing, it doesn't appear to me that we are going to achieve this by 2024. It doesn't appear likely. Well,
you're painting a grim picture, and obviously there are those who are also trying to assess the individual behavior of Ghanaians. We've had the authority complain about that. The sanitation ministers are obviously talking about how Ghanaians are not buying into this vision as part of the challenges confronting this policy. How about our attitudes as well as persons? And how do we really change that? What measures do we put in place to educate the people the more?
Great. And it's one of the major pillars that I talked about, because you cannot achieve anything without behavior change. And that's why I mentioned earlier that we need a comprehensive and sustained behavior change communication strategy, carrying the citizens along. I should be hearing by now, I mean, on the airwaves, I mean, jingles and information, education going on in the communities, on radio, everywhere. I mean, when you are able to do that and do it smart, then citizens are conscious that they need to take certain steps to live in a very clean environment. I have commended the Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources for some of the initiatives that her ministry has taken to ensure that at least we are able to improve on the solid waste situation in this country. But it doesn't appear we are sustaining that effort. And that is my worry. We need to ensure that we put in place the structures to sustain the gains that we are able to make. Otherwise, every now and then, the gains will be eroded.
What's the level of engagement between CONEWAS, the NGOs in water and sanitation, and also the sector agencies, for instance, the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council, in this operationalization of Operation Clean Your Frontage? Obviously, as stakeholders, the government should be engaging you by now. What's the level of engagement, and how far do you intend to take that?
I agree with you that engagement should be key. Engagement should be solid. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear that we have been engaged adequately on this. In fact, I attended the launch, but before then, there had been no engagement. And I think that every step of the way, we should be engaging and measuring the progress that we are making and putting in place the adequate structures to ensure that we do not deviate. I think that that is what we need. And not only CONEWAS, but all relevant stakeholders need to be brought on board to ensure that we win this fight. Look, there is this saying that I always quote, that sanitation is a physical measure which has probably done more to increase human lifespan than any kind of drug or surgery can do. And this was a famous quote which was said by American philosopher Deepak Chopra. And it is very, very true. Unfortunately, we don't prioritize it and we don't accord it the necessary attention that it deserves.
Well, just as we wrap up on this conversation, in fact, there's one conversation ahead that we'll be having on government's concerns over water shortage. Obviously, that should be of concern to you as NGOs in water and sanitation as well. There's that likelihood that we may be experiencing rationing, and it's already happening across the country. What's accounting for this, and what official reports do you have on our status as a country in terms of water security, if I would put it that way?
Yes, let me indicate that when it comes to water, as a country, we have done quite well. At least the multiple indicator cluster survey tells us that Ghana has done at least 80%. In fact, the joint monitoring platform of UNICEF and World Health Organization puts us at basic access 86%. That is quite good. Even though we have challenges with water quality issues, we have challenges with equity and inclusion and all that. I think, if you ask me, the basic issue has to do with funding. We have not been able to sustain the funding required to ensure that we increase infrastructure, we expand the network to cover a lot more people because population is increasing. If we get the funding, I tell you that we have the expertise, we have all it takes to be able to provide access to water to everybody everywhere in Ghana. And that is what we have not been able to provide. Government needs to prioritize water and sanitation and ensure that financing is increased for the delivery of this so that everybody everywhere will get access and nobody will be left behind. That is what we need.
Yao Atahin is the chairperson of CONEWAS, if we could refer to him as such. But I'm grateful, sir, that you've been able to join us on The Pulse this afternoon. We have more coming your way because senior high schools in the Ashanti region are calling on government for timely release of funds to run the free senior high school policy. The Students' Representative Council of second cycle institutions in the Ashanti region is appealing to government to ensure that they release food and funds under the free SHS policy. They observed recent delays in deliveries to most of the schools have resulted in shortage of food items, hampering academic activities. The council is also imploring the government to reinstate the contributions of parent-teacher associations in various schools. Emmanuel Bright Kweku has more in the following report.
Delayed supply of non-perishable food items and funds to second cycle institutions remains a major challenge denting the effective implementation of government's free senior high school policy. Delayed release of funds has led to shortage in food supplies, affecting the menu in most schools. President of the Ashanti Regional SRC, Delancy Ama Ayache, stressed a stringent monitoring and supervision of supplies would ensure effective and efficient running of the free SHS policy.
Under the current arrangement of the free SHS policy, the role of buffer stock company in the supply of non-perishable foods to schools has become so crucial. We call on government to ensure the timely release of food in the right quantities to our schools. Our schools have experienced a number of shortages in the supply in the course of previous semesters, making it difficult to follow the menu.
The 25th anniversary launch by the Ashanti Regional SRC brought home over 300 SRC executives from 90 senior high schools across the region. The event aimed at briefing participants on activities earmarked for the association's Silver Jubilee Anniversary celebration and a dialogue on issues plaguing most senior high schools. Addressing the participants, Ms. Ayache noted contributions from parent-teacher associations stalled due to the rollout of free SHS. This, she says, has affected developmental projects which could be absorbed by the association.
The commendable free SHS policy, with its attendance restrictions on the PTA, has gradually brought the valuable contributions of PTA to a halt. This has affected our schools and the kind of support they used to enjoy from the contributions of parents who are also stakeholders of the school. We do understand the good intentions of the policy to check exploitation and unnecessary punishment of students for non-payment of PTA dues by their parents, which was the order of the day. We are however pleading that a minimum seal of a small amount of money could be provided for PTAs to still contribute to support schools in areas of infrastructure, maintenance of facilities, and many other areas in dire need by our schools.
For JoyNews, Emmanuel Bright Kweku reporting.
Well, let's still stay on education because it is emerging that the Education Ministry, or for that matter, government, owes the National Food Buffer Stock Company 300 million cedis in food supplies. The situation has resulted in shortage in some senior high schools as various suppliers have cut supplies to the schools. The NDC minority is warning that the schools may be forced to close down next week if the challenge is not immediately fixed. Now, the Education Minister, Dr. Yao said at a conference in the Ashanti Regional Capital, Kumasi, assured all is under control. Meanwhile, Chief Executive Officer of the National Buffer Food Stock, Hanan Abdul Wahab, has been assuring of measures put in place to address this challenge. He spoke in an interview with JoyNews' Ernest Mainu.
Took over my first official letter that went out of this office was a letter that I wrote to the Director General of Education, asking him to tell all the heads of the second cycle institution to introduce their existing suppliers to the buffer stock platform. So currently, as we speak now, the suppliers we are currently using are those that have had 20 years, 10 years experience with the schools. So we did that. We have come to register, and then they are doing very well.
Now, in the wake of the recent shortages that we've seen, we'll delve into that shortly. There are calls for the system to be reverted, to go back to the old system where the schools directly engage the suppliers. What do you make of that?
But that would have been disastrous, and that would not help solve the problem. Of course, we've all identified that there is a cash flow problem. So when you take it back to the schools and we are unable to send them money in time to buy, what then happens? It still doesn't change the situation now. Rather, it even make it worse. But the reality is that, yes, government is doing everything possible. and suppliers have done their work, and suppliers have gone to supply on credit because we license them to supply. That is why we owe some of them, but we have made effort to also release funds to them so that they can, continue with their supply. So going back to that would not help. I'm sure even the headmaster themselves know for a fact that, because it is not going to be like it used to be. When they used to do all this procurement by themselves, parents were paying school fees. And they have the right to send the children back home if they don't pay school fees. But now it's free senior high school. They have to wait for government to send everything to them. And you know how government business is also, run. So the best channel to do this is the buffer stock system. And like you rightly said at the beginning, for the past 4 years and a half, we've not had some of these challenges of food shortage. But let's not also forget that we are not in normal times. We are not in normal times. There is global crisis as a result of the COVID-19, and most countries are struggling to recover from the shock of the COVID-19. We as a country are doing our best. We are doing well. It hasn't affected production. Production has increased significantly in most parts of the country, and except the imported food items because of the exchange rate and all the same. We are doing our best.
So the specific recent delay, is it just an issue of cash flow, or there are other factors that are accounting for the delays we are seeing?
Yeah, it's the issue of cash flow, which as at last week we have disbursed 130 million Ghana cedis to the suppliers. So the fear of headmasters of inadequate food in their stores or warehouses would be sorted out soon, because most of the chairs have cleared on Friday. So suppliers started their procurement and distribution today, Monday. We have received some signals from other parts of the country that suppliers are.
The 130 is for all schools across the country or specific areas?
So with our system, what happens is that we receive invoices in badges and also send the invoices to Ministry of Education also in badges. Okay. So a supplier, there is 80% probability that in every badge we have suppliers representing every badge. So once we are paying a particular badge, it cuts across. So most suppliers get paid within that particular, payment. So with this 130 million, almost all the suppliers have gotten some money to go in there and then continue with the supplies.
And so schools across the country can expect some food?
Yes, for sure. Yes.
But you say some money, it means that we still owe them.
Exactly.
How much?
The point is that I want you to, understand this. As we speak, every day invoices keep on coming because suppliers are on the ground supplying, despite challenges of not being paid in time. The suppliers are so at every point in time, government will always owe suppliers. That's the reality. Even when you clear the debt today, tomorrow new invoices will come. So that is how the system works, and that makes it better than reverting back to the schools where headmasters will not be able to go to the market and credit food items from the market because of what? Lack of guarantee. You understand?
Yeah. Is it true that government owes you 300 million? Or is it more?
No.
It's not true?
It's not true.
Government owes you more?
It's not true. Not more, but it's not true. But like I said, government has released 130 million Ghana cedis last week, which we have disbursed. And from now to the end of the week, you would hear, the schools will confirm to you of availability of food.
Do you have systems?
Enough availability of food, because already there are some food. The fear of the headmasters is that they are almost depleting the stocks. So it is better they can request and get the food into their warehouse before they run out of stock completely.
Okay. Do you have a system where you check the quality of food that is delivered?
Yes, we have a whole department.
I'm saying this because today is available. The students boycotted class because they claim they are being served with expired milk and tin fish and other things like that. How does that happen? Okay,
so you see, we have a system. We have a whole department called the Food Safety Department. Before any supplier goes to supply any food item, it has to be checked by this department. We have the food safety where we have quality control officers working under that particular, department. I have also been informed or notified about this Savulugu situation, which we are going to investigate it. But it could be that I'm not saying that for certainty, but it could be that this is as a result of an old stock that the school has. Because quality control, quality checks is a shared responsibility between the supplier and the consumer. So headmasters are encouraged to also check on quality expiration period before they receive, and relate it to the semester or the academic year. Once the food the food item will expire before the end of the academic year or the semester, they are supposed to reject it or take a quantity that can sustain them before it expires. So it's a shared responsibility. We have just been notified about Savulugu, and we have sent our regional manager, Northern Regional Manager of Buffer Stock, and the Quality Control Officer to go there and get first-hand information about that, the situation.
If it is established that it's a lapse on your part, and I'm talking of the Quality Control Department of Buffer Stock Company, for instance, what happens? Or if it's a failure on the part of the supplier, for instance,
like I said, I am involved greatly in the distribution of milk this academic year. Okay. And I've had meetings, because of this issue of Nestle, a new company has come. We had some discussions and we have inspected, and the quality, the expiration date is perfect. So from the information we are getting, it's an old stock. Okay. But like I'm saying, it is also a responsibility of the receiver or the consumer, in this case, the storekeeper or the headmaster or the bearer, to also check on the quality and relate it to the period. You understand? So it cannot be what we have just supplied a week ago. So all the same, we are still doing our investigation. We don't compromise on quality because we know it's very key here, and as a company, we get to lose when we are found overriding issues of quality.
Let's stay away briefly from the issues of the schools and the challenges they are facing. Generally, prices of food has increased on the market, and once again, buffer stock comes up. The experts will tell you that once we have a good storage system, buffer stock playing a key role, we're able to show up the shortages we see on the markets, which sometimes largely contribute to the hikes in prices. Do we have enough food? What's our storage capacity right now?
We have enough to help stabilize the system, and harvesting is ongoing in some parts of the kind of harvesting and cleaning. Some are doing cleaning. For example, farmers have harvested their paddy rice and they are now subjecting them to milling. What I can say is that we are good to go. We are good to go.
You mentioned paddy rice, for instance. Are you saying that we are not going to have a glut at some point?
No, not.
And we have food perishing at the farm gates because
no,
we do not.
We are not going to have the BC situation again. There's not going to be glut because we have been able to link paddy producers to rice millers across the country, so they can mill as and when they harvest, and right after milling is supplied directly to the nearby schools.
So the price hikes on the market is not because we don't have enough in the system?
No, it is not because we don't have enough in the system.
Now, just finally, the Director General of SIGA somewhere last year mentioned that your outfit was going to develop a 5-year strategic plan. Where are we on that?
Yeah, we are there. We are working with the consultants. They have brought the first draft. We actually went on a 3-day retreat with various stakeholders to put together thinkings and experiences to come out with a strategic plan. We had the first draft. We went through it and did some management, and board did some input, and then we gave it back to the consultant. So we are expecting the consultant to be back by next week with the corrected input. So very soon we would inform you on when we'll outdoor the strategic plan.
But when this is fully developed, how would it be a game changer as far as your operations?
A lot is going to really focus more on local purchases, processing, storage, and a better network of food distribution. For example, it's not only the free senior high school program. We have other government institutions that rely on food. For example, government hospitals under the Ministry of Health, Ghana Police Service under Interior, Ghana Prison Service, Ghana Armed Forces, and other, and of course, we also want to take advantage on the one district, one factory to, supply raw materials to this this factory. So it's going to be a big game changer because it's going to give us direction. It's going to give us direction. It's going to give us a clear objective for us to work, towards.
Do you play any role in the school feeding program?
Yes. So we do supply them with maize and then rice through the district assembles, so that the caterers go there to pick it from the district assemble.
Because of what we are seeing at the senior high school level, can you give us some assurances with regards to the primary level that in the near future we are not going to see agitations about shortage of?
Oh no, I'm not sure. And just recently, caterers of school feeding program nationwide have just been paid their arrears and they are happy. So I'm not sure we are going to face that problem in the lower primary. But with this, it's temporal. We are not in normal times, and we are working very hard as an institution responsible for food security to make sure that we get over it. This is temporal. We would definitely get over it. In 2018, we were not here to interview me on shortage of food or threatening to close down schools. In 2019, it wasn't done until 2020, where the impact of the COVID is a global crisis. So as a country, we are doing our best, and also as a company, we are also looking for alternatives where we can, change or alter the national approved menu, so that, like I said, we want to, capitalize on local production in terms of, plantain. We have a season where plantain grows in abundance. Then we can do more plantain and its product. A season where we grow, especially in the eastern part of Dagbang, Welensi, Yendi, and Bimbila, where they produce a lot of yam, and some part of Savannah region. Then we can do more of yam and then its product. So we are trying to do elimination by what? Substitution.
Now, just as we wrap up on this conversation, there are parents who are watching you and students who are very much concerned about the situation. What can you tell them as we look into the camera about the shutting down of schools? Many of them are worried.
I can assure colleague, parents, I am also a parent, and everybody in this country is a beneficiary of the free senior high school one way or the other. I'm assuring parents that we are doing everything possible to make sure that there's adequate food, not just adequate food, of good quality. So this rumor of they may be closing down of schools is not going to happen today. It won't happen tomorrow. It won't happen forever. Under the leadership of me, we are going to, go through this turbulence and get stability. And like I said, we have issued, disbursed some huge amount of money to suppliers, and within the week, headmasters will be confirming receipt of various food.
And you're welcome back to the Pulse. We can now bring you some latest development on the subject of the electronic transactions levy. Government is taking its town hall meeting this time around to the Upper West region. We have some live pictures for you as some residents in the area have been putting questions to government as we speak there, where the town hall is happening live. We can take a listen to some of the responses to the critical questions that are being raised at that forum.
There.
Okay. Minister, I understand that there are people watching in the overflow on the other side. And so they've also come in because they have questions to ask. So, Kweku, can we just identify them? Let's count them, about 5 or 6 of them. Let me take responses, and then we'll give you the final batch of questions. Those who've come from the overflow with your questions. We'll count all of you and give you the final batch. So, Minister, I think you wanted to say something?
No, I think basically, although the lady referred the question to me about taxation, I think I'll leave it to the the finance people to answer.
Very well.
It's more within their...
Very well. Noel, you have the microphone. Very quickly.
Right, thank you, Minister. The question was, what is being done to bring defaulters to book in terms of those who are defaulting, whether rich or poor? It cuts across. Now, there's what we call high net worth taxation, where a unit has been set up in the GRA to look at all those who have incomes above a certain level, which is quite high, and are not paying taxes, to ensure that these people pay taxes. The other thing that's being done is the GRA has also set up a prosecutions unit to take to court those who have been evading taxes. Previously, OMOV could just collect the tax owed and a penalty from you. Now, the idea is to prosecute them. A tax court has also been set up by the judiciary for that purpose, where cases involving tax will be tried very quickly so that justice can be served. So these are just a few of the things. There's another one, and this one is for the very rich people who are keeping their money out of the country. There's a system we call automatic exchange of information, where all that information will be given to us in Ghana, and we'll also tax those amounts. So those are some of the things we are doing in terms of that.
My auntie, the market woman, asked 2 specific questions. Is it true that if I have a balance on my Momo wallet, that balance itself will be taxed? Because she's saying that if I am saving 2 cedis on my Momo wallet, she has heard that you would tax that balance on the wallet. That's one. The other question is, if she withdraws her money from her Momo wallet, would it be taxed? Those are 2 specific questions. If she does a withdrawal, not a transfer, will it be taxed? And then finally, 50 cedis, if she transfers 50 cedis. There were 3 questions I got from. So first one, deductions on the balance on the wallet. Second one, levy on withdrawals. And third one, does it affect 50 cedis transfer? Okay. Comrade, please get ready to translate.
So let's start with the balance on your wallet. If you have money in your wallet, it's not taxable. I'll also add that if you have money in your wallet and you have another wallet and you transfer money to that wallet, it is not taxable. Because it's just like taking it from your left pocket and putting it in your right pocket. It's still your money. So there's no levy on that one. The next one, if you withdraw money, it is not taxable. The tax is on a transfer. It's only when you make a transfer to another person that there's a tax on it. Then the last one is, if I transfer 50 cedis, no, there's no levy on 50 cedis. If you transfer 50 cedis, there's no levy. If you transfer more than 100 cedis a day, then you pay levy on the amount that is above 100 cedis. So if you transfer 50 cedis in the morning to anybody, there's no levy. If you transfer another 25 cedis, 75 cedis, no levy. If you transfer another 25 cedis, 100 cedis, no levy. If you transfer another 25 cedis, that's now 125 cedis, then you pay the levy on the 25 cedis that is extra. So 50 cedis, no. 100 cedis, no. Per each day. Per each day. If you do 100 today, there's no levy.
No, before you hand over.
Yeah, before you hand over, I want to make this point. This is a market woman. So we need to let her understand that if she's a registered taxpayer and she's even transferring money to another businesswoman in Kumasi who is registered, she pays nothing. It's important you make that point. Yeah.
You've made it for us, Minister. Munir, so please do a translation for us.
Haja antimeri yala on yala ka kinandi libiri de emi mobile money ne inter pampanan kinandi bimbe kaba kundiagi lampo. Kinamang aladi imbela gaki bakula diagi lampo kinam nan adi libiri awo 50 Ghana ne en yalane kidu kunye bakun diagi lampo kinal e 50 Ghana bakun diage kinal la e 25 Ghana la pai 70 Ghana bla bakula diage kinal la e 25 Ghana pai 1 million la bla bakula diage ta a 1 million ni jun kinal la e 25 Ghana dogole bana diagi lampo cha lampo de bana diage ne a 25 Ghana e dogole ne una lampo bana diage bojung e sene bi ti helibir akunia ampar milio bunyeni awo bibiri jakina e blayang bana diage lampo cha emen namba ne internet te bona bunga ma ka merchant line onalaka kinanga MTB Vodafone Airtel nga bomon queen kanga ka da dibu nambala kinan taro enen andre da kuma hino kuna man tar ana line to kinan de libire kede imadana bakondiage bunja blaja pana alibire ansan taba kondiage lampo bla wulenka i 50 Ghana ne interne kinan na dudu kunya bakondiage ana lampo nga yan yala ban yalanga ona bakondiage se ki tilibiri apar million bunyeni bebi bulija awajine kinan tilibiri apar million bunyeni bona andogla million junni ona la bana dia lampo bla ban yale.
No, we don't finish. Insane kina boraka kina register check ki eda for kababanke bebole merchant kina di million cedis at ito kumasi kudi buhu wane ki kwa bakundi bunja. It's important you make the point. Kina yiche atiko ida port to soma kuna di buhu wakuye free la. You should let them understand. Kana a million to badi bunja.
We're going to go for the final batch of questions. We've ceded that to our friends who joined us from the overflow. Minister, as I mentioned, not everybody could get a seat here, so there are those who are watching on television in the overflow, and they have questions, about 5 of them. So let's hear you. Introduce yourself. Let's please be quick. We have only 30 minutes to wrap up.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Hafiz Timbile. I work with WFM. And I appreciate that you are here to actually tell us why we need to pay E-levy and other taxes. And I was expecting that the frequently asked questions you gave us would have been addressed here. But that has not been done. That is why some of these questions are coming. And I just want to flow from what I have read here, which has to do with transfer within individual accounts. I own 2 accounts. I transfer within them, taking my money from one pocket to the other.
You just answered that one here.
Yes. The other leg is that, having read this one, I've seen the examples given concerning only mobile platforms. I have a bank account. I transfer from my bank account to my mobile wallet. Is there a charge on it?
Okay, we'll get you a response.
My second concern has to do with people who have issue with fairness as far as this E-levy is concerned. I go to buy fuel, 500 cedis. Yes, the 400 will be charged E-levy. Someone else buys the same amount with cash. He goes without paying. How do we address this fairness issue?
Thank you very much. Question number 2.
My name is Ambrose, a student of UBS.
Ambrose what?
Ambrose Bayo, a student of UBS.
I just wanted to be sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a problem with the government because we are on a strike almost two months now, and we didn't go back to classes. And then the government is serious about E-levy and how the education side. So
let's hear him. Let's hear him. Yeah. So you are not happy that the lecturers have been on strike?
Yes. And then the government is not doing away with the strike. And then it's rather serious on the E-levy.
No, but how does government do away with the strike? Take your time. We all want to understand each other. How does government do away with the strike?
No, then they have to solve the issue, and then the lecturers will go back.
Yes, but what is the issue? What is the issue?
The issue?
Yes.
Okay, that one there, I can't answer for now. And then, because they said, because the government have to...
Let's take it easy. Calm.
Let's hear him. The essence of a town hall meeting is that we can exchange ideas. He says the government should solve the issue. What is the issue? He says how I can answer for now.
It's about their salary.
Yes.
Yes. And then they have to make sure that our lecturers come back before they bring in the E-levy and we can support.
We hear you. Thank you very much. Let's give him a round of applause. Minister, I'll come to you. Let's give him a round of applause. Let's go to the next set of questions. We hear you. We hear you loud and clear. Let's go to the next person so that everybody can speak. We hear you. Yes, sir.
All right. My name is Anthony Pori. I'm the MD of Agri-Access. Thank you very much for the opportunity to ask this question. My concern is the rate, which is I've seen that you've reduced it to 1.5. But I was looking at, considering the situation we are all in, that is the COVID and
Well, so excerpts there of what's happening in the Upper West region with regard to the controversial subject of the electronic transactions levy. Definitely, we'll try and get some answers for you in our subsequent bulletins. Don't forget as well that we're keeping our eyes on what it is that the finance minister would give in terms of update on government policy regarding that. But we can now bring you some more stories because a joint police and military task force led by Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, Cecilia Abenadapa, has seized an excavator being used for illegal sand mining on the buffer zone of the Weja water treatment plant. This follows several reports of how the illegal activity of persons who appear to have the backing of the local authorities are destroying water bodies, nearly pushing the supply of potable water in the country to crisis level. Manuel Kranting was with the task force and now reports.
Why? Why were they allowed to come and do that?
What happened was that when they started initially...
No. You talk to me. Allow him.
I drew their attention.
Yes.
I drew the attention of the people. So
Which people?
That is, the assembly called me that they were cutting a road. And I said, I don't have the power.
This one, where is he taking that?
I don't even know where they are going to say. You know, we don't have the power to come here. The chiefs of Weja have sent warning to me several times after I had told the assembly that this is our area. Nobody should come unless they see the head office. So the urban roads engineer, the municipal assembly, came to me that they were constructing a road.
You see, if they are doing that, have you informed the headquarters?
Yeah, I've written a report.
So this one, are they going to throw it away or going to use it?
I don't even know where it's going to. They are selling.
But you are confused. Either you are confused or you are lying.
No.
Or you are irresponsible.
I have the letters.
How can you do this?
I have the letters.
You are saying you don't know whether they are selling or not. But you know they are going to sell.
I know.
How can they do sand winning and deplete the whole buffer that we've put here to protect the lake?
Yes.
That gives about 1.5 million people in Accra water. Do you know what you are doing?
Honorable Minister.
Let
me come in.
Please, this thing, we must investigate it. Okay. So the driver, please, arrange to dislodge. We will not allow you to take this away. Military man. And he is here. He should. They
don't give you receipts.
Listen, they should keep them here. I want to walk down there.
Okay. Officer,
so the Honourable Minister now is attempting to have access to the very source of this particular trailer that is filled with sand, laterite really, from this particular part of the hill, which is supposed to be a buffer zone for protecting the Weja Lake.
See, there's another truck.
Yes, there's actually more than 30 have already passed.
More than 30?
Yes.
Where is the driver?
The driver go on road. Look at him.
Hey, my friend, come. The man now where waha? Wait, okay, na eden waha.
Melody.
Who will do? Eden.
Gravels.
Gravels. It won't unsuno.
Major.
It when the do baha.
Boys no more anymore.
Boys, one more anymore. Na ma baha. Se belondu.
I'm out on Everton.
Na wan kasa unu munsuo Ghana ha. What te fine?
No,
Bawe. Ahia. And nsuo we na ye no mu no mo be deplete ho nyina na nsuo na we na de asem abre oman no de mo ye
de nye na etu ye
me ka kiro sa we nipa bone fo me na me ka kiro We are sorry in the Pabonifo. I mean, no better than go. What did they make?
So this is the second truck that is being ordered to go and dislodge all of the gravels and laterites that has been filled into its bucket. But of course, this is essentially one of the activities that we've heard authorities talk about. Indeed, in addition to illegal mining activities, galamsey, and also farming on the buffer zones. And this is just one. And as we're just seeing, the entourage led by the Minister for Works, Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, the Honorable Cecilia Abnanapa, she's just ordering them to dislodge all of the gravels and then of course the laterites that they have collected. And so now what we're doing is that we're walking towards the point that we've been told is the source for collecting, and in just the past couple of minutes engaging the gentlemen who are driving these trucks. They say they pay an amount of 200 Ghana cedis to fill the truck with the gravels over here, and we're learning that this is supposed to be a buffer zone to protect the Wager Lake, and this is a source of water to about 1.5 million people within the region alone. And so, of course, this is a major concern to the Honourable Minister. I'll just ask her, Honourable, is this just coming to your notice as we just arrived here?
We've been monitoring for some time now. That's why we wanted to come and see it, feel it for ourselves, and stop it, because we can't continue. We are going to institute investigations into all this to make sure the figures they are giving us is correct. Okay. And by extrapolation, then we know that they are depleting. You see, that's another vehicle.
But Honourable, what does this say? Because I mean, you cannot be here every day to monitor yourself. There are officers here.
You've seen there are officers there. We are supposed to have people here who are protecting the landscape to make sure we protect the lake. But very disappointing results. The guy must stop. He should stop.
And so the Honourable Minister is ordering that this car, which is just this truck, which is approaching us, also must stop. Honourable, clear dereliction of duty, at least on the surface. That's what we've seen in the past couple of minutes.
This a couple of minutes. We are going to investigate. We should get to the bottom of this. People are at the gates. How did these trucks come in? We should know. Driver. Sifombra. A frozen. Then Ben they say you ding. Yo, then all can. I'm Ben. If you Hanum de tu. Obi o ho tu, no ma beton to we sign no. 180 Ghana. Unim say wrong so beba ha. High security zone. Unim say. And then me can chiro until do akutu no be san de akogu ho. See here. Finally, no, this is what will wash back into the lake. It's like powder.
Penalties for people who indulge in such.
Oh, you let us investigate. Yes, I can't stand here.
Just as we're moving, this is powdered laterite, really. That is just, going up into the atmosphere, and when it rains, our understanding is that this washes right into the lake, making it even more difficult to treat. I'm correct?
It's true.
Increases the turbidity.
Yes, it adds up to the turbidity.
Okay.
That we don't want to be high. And this is illegal mining of what? Sand and stones. That's what they are doing here.
I heard you say you are outrightly disappointed at the findings that you've just made this past couple of minutes.
We've all seen. I haven't had any findings yet. We are going to investigate. But what I've seen, and I'm sure you are equally shocked at the way they are cutting off the sand and stones from here. Yeah.
We've heard the Ghana Water Company Limited say, in fact, in January, released a timetable for rationing water. And this was one of the reasons.
It was a cautionary statement warning us and being proactive to tell us that we are in the dry season and we need to conserve water and use water wisely. Okay. If we continue like that, even in the dry season, then we are cutting our noses. Very soon we can't breathe. Yes.
You did say that you are going to be the forestry.
No. We are doing afforestation.
Okay.
Greening Ghana.
Okay.
I've said that we should have a
shouldn't the management of the Ghana Water Company Limited on site at least be on top of this issue?
Rightly so. Rightly so.
They don't seem to be. I mean, we heard you speak to the manager who struggled to find answers to the very simple questions that you were asking. I mean, initially, what indication does it give to you?
Investigations, proper one, to know who did what and how they came here. Look at the encroachment we are talking about. And now the buffer that we have is being carted out. Please.
And just to our left now as we walk, there's some 300 to 500 meters of land, really, that's now being inhabited by people, really close to the river.
Yes.
You should stop that thing.
But who gives permits for these buildings to be put up here? Especially because we know that this is a security zone, a zone which is being managed by the Ghana Water Company Limited. I mean, somebody must be given authorization
part
for the
of the investigations.
Part of the investigations.
Because we've been here several times to warn. And it seems people are just stubborn.
And so even as we approach these two trucks, what we're seeing now is that an excavator really is just filling up the bucket of another truck with the latrite, with the gravels, and that's just what you're seeing in your shot currently. A situation which the Honourable Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources has just said that should be illegal, should be of course discontinued. But of course, as she talked about investigations, we'll try and hear from her what possible sanctions could apply to the culprits, if so established from the said investigations that the Honourable Minister has been talking about. And so the excavation is going really to the root of a building that is just sitting right on top of the mountain.
I know you have to take it out.
Thank you. Thank you.
Driver no.
Bajabra.
If they are not the only people who have it, yes.
So now the operator of the excavator is just being called, summoned to approach the Honourable Minister to answer questions.
Excuse me. They want to construct the road. Where is the district manager? Where is he?
I'm here.
Where is the road? You've been here before.
I came here once with the minister.
I'm asking you, where is the road?
That was the question I asked that. They should report.
I'm asking you, where is the road?
Actually, I don't know where the road is. I told them they were degrading the land. But they told me that they are constructing a road. That's what the urban roads engineer told me. And it was a tough argument here. So I answered them to the head office.
Wednesday, when the door
very mistakes.
Free owing.
Around here.
What's here? On the machine. Wow, there.
Boss there.
O boss there, to behind. Mistaken, no say assassin and there.
For behind,
or behind. It would draining in a good lake no more. Oh, so a gun any.
Link it to the agape down. It's a wage money here.
But when you say that you've gotten permission from the assembly, who exactly in assembly did you get permission?
Oh, yes, assembly now me call you know. And your permission per se. But no mommy letter. And notice me, and notice what I was some there a vein.
Letter and then no.
Chirasa ye can't free link it to agape down. Assembly movie. Yeah, assembly movie. Assembly member. Away.
Like one sign letter no.
Signature no. Assemblyman a code through assembly. It's assemblyman signature.
Assemblyman.
Yes.
And DC.
And yeah, DC. But DC is also me calling him. It's one of my crime assemblyman. Minimum Patrick Kumo.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, my calling because engagement will be about so and Sunny. So for the first initial one. Yeah, Sunny Amino can say yeah.
Okay, I'm not here.
Emma, what you say? That is why my come assemblyman drafted his letter. Me just carry a man.
Okay.
Me just carry a man because Obia who say you want to know. A best serve the whole community because I hire out me for our call your friend is a Jumba. Ut me for our call Gonse. Ut me for our call Agape down. It is a wager wa here and I say you need access now this year wine from Abrikuma and I say zero a quarter so yeah. I say you can't wear a NGSM.
Oh, your contractor, road contractor.
May a developer meet me a year near say because so, most of the times me want to be tracks in your media individuals neighbor because ye me 7 me for me for ni and say me be
call. Say 180.
Oh, and the man can't try because I'm just say I him for mammy hokwan.
Okay.
Sir.
I
him for no dear. Land fee no convenient. And I come to diesel and I'm the power machine.
Okay, until we get 180 now, they're saying I for they're saying.
And Ukraine, sir, 180 no send me a critic car me won't cry 20 Ghana. I'm telling you.
Without sending it to me, and you said I've received it, go and bring a copy that my office has stamped. Stop it. Chiefs don't do road. I said chiefs don't do road. Assemblies don't do road. They should go and tell highways and ministries. Then they'll talk to our minister. Our engineers will sit down and talk. Which palace does road? That third road was done by Ghana Water Company, not urban rules. So if they want to continue with it, why? They just join because where is the power coming from? The law does not give them the power.
So somebody will say that you are targeting.
I am not targeting him. I'm just he should stop bringing the information he's carrying. I just want to because he's the career. Because the information he's giving you now is what he has been fed. So he should better get it out of his mind and let his big people come and approach it. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm not just targeting I brought the minister here because it's gone past us. And so the minister should take it up. It becomes a cabinet decision. I don't sit in cabinet. And so there are certain decisions that I'm limited. All I can do is to forward it to the ministry. And the minister has come. Now he has sent it. He's taking a cabinet posture. Government paid compensation for this land. If the compensation is not adequate, it's not road they come to do. They come and ask for a review. That's all.
But have you been aware of the district's workings with the people here?
No, we are not aware. That's what I'm telling my people. They shouldn't limit them because they do not speak for Ghana Water Company. I speak for Ghana Water Company. So if they come to them, they should better direct them to me. And if they say they've written a letter to me and I have received it, they should collect the letter and see whether my stamp is on it.
So you are more culpable than even him because your men are on ground every day and they allow them to do it.
We are going to the military camp, so you can ask them why there is a military post and people can pass through. What will I be able to do?
Why not ask you? Your people are here, you supervise them.
I said because I cannot do it alone, that's why I went to national security and they deployed military people here. And there's a military post. So let's go to them.
That deployment has been useless, obviously.
So, am I the commander? No. So let's go and speak to them.
Well, you're still here on the Pulse. The Ghana Science and Tech Explorer Challenge Prize is aiming at nurturing about 20,000 junior high school pupils through practical learning and development of science, technology, engineering and mathematics education. At a virtual meeting of stakeholders in STEM, Education Minister called for public-private sector collaboration in improving the delivery of STEM education right from the basic school. There's more in the following report.
Immediately, the rubber step on the to produce language to alert the community so that the community is going.
Some enthusiastic pupils pitching a security alarm system at a hack event organized by the Ghana Science and Technology Explorer Prize G-STEP. The initiative is part of a 3-year program aimed at challenging students to develop innovative ideas in dealing with societal problems. At a virtual meeting of stakeholders in STEM ahead of the G-STEP Pilot Challenge Prize, Education Minister Dr. Yawose Iduchum said STEM education is the bedrock of Ghana's transformation agenda.
STEM has been prioritized, but we also understand the expertise in STEM is vested in the private sector. Education as a public sector enterprise is just trying to catch up. We have the expertise at Nesta, at Dreamover, at MEST. These are the entities that have the expertise in this country. Their partnership with the Ministry of Education will unleash that talent for the benefit of our students.
Delivering a speech on behalf of the Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Madam Olivia Opari, listed some initiatives undertaken by the service to improve the STEM delivery.
Training of science and mathematics teachers under the SIP project, and that's a secondary education improvement project. Training of science teachers on the effective use of science equipment, and it is ongoing. We are training about 670 senior high school teachers on the effective use of the science equipment and then chemical supply.
Starting June 2022, the G-STEP Pilot Project Prize is expected to be launched. The competition is targeted at tasking JHS students in Greater Accra and Ashanti regions to come up with creative projects. Senior Vice President at Dream Oval Foundation, Francis Ahene Afu, gives more details.
In August, we're going to do the assessment and selection of the projects that have been submitted. So we're going to narrow down all submissions to 100 finalist groups, and then the final support comes in between September and October, where we mentor and coach and support them. We're going to have the final assessment in November, and that will be the pitching and selection. This is where the children, the groups created, will bring the project that their mentors and coaches have helped them to shape, to submit it to a panel. And then in December 2022, we're going to have the exhibition and award ceremony.
The 3-year G-STEP program, which is run by a consortium of 5 organizations, will engage and equip 20,000 young Ghanaians with the skills, support 500 teachers to grow their confidence in engaging the minds of young people in STEM.
Oh, they are studying science, fire, double fire.
Well, we can now do some politics. The governing New Patriotic Party is warning constituency chairmen against hoarding nomination forms for aspirants vying to lead the party at the various polling stations. Now, according to the party, such practices could undermine electoral processes and also jeopardize the party's reorganization strategy. Meanwhile, the NPP's Director of Election and Research, Evans Nemako, has directed the election committees not to deny anyone the opportunity to contest. He spoke on the probe on JoyNews.
It is in the wisdom of the National Council that specific directives were given that the elections of the regional executive committee, and so it is expected that the executive committee will be chaired by representatives of the regional executive committee, and so I'm expecting that election whoever has been nominated by the
And welcome to the sports segment here on the Pulse with me, Rick Wampofo. And on Friday, we did build up heavily to the Super Clash, where some of you had the privilege of calling in and letting us know your predictions. Surprisingly, no one went in for a draw. And that's what we had on Sunday, a goalless draw between the two sides, which essentially only helps one side, that's Asante Kotoko, as they retain their 12-point lead over their rivals. They opened the gap at the top to 7 points over second place, Bechem United, and it looked like they're cruising ahead of the second round. Kotoko look like they're fine. It's hard to folk who look like they're in a bit of issue in terms of struggling up front. Now, they've scored 15 goals in 17 games in the first round. That's the team averaging less than a goal per game. And so today we're asking the question that Heart of Oak's front nine, is there a case that they're not firing or they're not getting enough chances to score? And joining me in studio is Lawrence. Lawrence, it's a pleasure to have you. You were at the stadium on Sunday and you saw Heart of Oak versus Asante Kotoko. From what you saw from Heart, they defended well and didn't really create a lot up front or didn't take the little chances that they have. Do you think that summarizes some of Wedu's season?
I think goal scoring has been a huge problem for Heart of Oak this season. Going into the season, having won the Premier League last season, coming in, Samuel Wedu brought on board Kofi Koji to try and add firepower to the Hearts team. But then after 17 games, they look far from their best last season. They've only scored 15 goals out in 17 games. And then
creation not being a problem. Now, in 8 different matches this season, they failed to register a goal. Isn't that a bit of a stretch, considering that if you're creating good chances, at least you have to score frequently in more games, especially considering that a lot of these key players up front were retained from last season where they were scoring goals for fun?
Last season they had Benjamin Efutu turning up at some point. They had Daniel Free-Banye also coming into the party. Isaac Mensah were all scoring. But then this season it has been Koji. And then when Koji sets out, you see that Free-Banye struggles to even make an impact when he's played as a top striker or even behind the striker. It's been a huge problem for Hearts. I think chance creation, if the strikers, you have your strikers staying in the box, staying around the box, trying to get the chances that they create, I think they could be good going forward.
Let's use the Super Clash as a case study where Kofi Koji, who you rightly said is the man who has been providing the goals, their top scorer this season, was once again surprisingly left out for Kojo Obin Jr., who had a glorious opportunity and rather complicated it by hitting the post. Do you get the understanding as to the reason why Samuel Wedu keeps on benching his top scorer?
Well, I think he made an excuse that Kofi Koji has to work a little more harder to get back into the side. I don't know what harder means, because in the first round of the season, we've seen Kofi Koji turn up for on a numerous times for Accra Suffolk, winning them maximum points. So I don't get why he decided to bench Koji in a game against Asante Kotoko, knowing that Kotoko have a defense that it has not been shaky although, but then with someone like Kofi Koji who has played in the Super Clash before, you know his qualities. So I just don't get why Boydu decided to bench Kofi Koji in place of Isaac Obeng. Isaac Obeng wasn't bad, he was good, but then when he was presented with such opportunity, you need a striker who has a little bit of composure, and that is what Isaac Obeng didn't have. Kofi Koji would have done better on that occasion, because Obeng Jr. had a goal at his mercy and he failed to live up to expectation.
Well, Hearts had the opportunity to go into the market and they went in for a midfielder in Suleiman Tari. Do you think that was the right decision? He's been here for 3 games, still no wins. They've still not been fruitful in front of goal. Do you think they need more, or this team can click again in the second round?
Hearts should be thanking their God that a midfielder like Nuruddin is back in the team. Nuruddin was supposed to boss this midfield team of Accra Suffolk prior to his injury, and then his return, I feel, should be an okay case for Samuel Wedu. I don't think they need any additions in midfield because he already has the options he needs. He just needs to speak to his attackers, get them clicking again, because it looks like they've lacked that edge in front of goal. Just push them harder, and then we've seen teams do that. And then if we are looking at the Super Clash again, it won't be a surprise that ahead of the game we were all mentioning the names of Ituga and Infegi. Both have done excellent, and then you ask yourself, what has Prosper done to them? It's just about pushing them. Once you push them, you get the best out of them, and then your team will fire again.
Would you say Etuga and Mbella, Etuga and Mfege are the reason why Asante Kotoko would probably go on to win the league ahead of Hartlepool?
I think so, because they've been prolific. If you see the two of them, if you look at the stats and you see the two of them scoring 15 goals out of the 26 that Kotoko have scored, that is 57.7 of Kotoko's goals this season. And if you take away those goals, and Kotoko should be lying lower than where they are on top of the league. So I feel the two will be efficient in Kotoko winning their 25th league title.
All right, thank you very much, Lawrence. And interestingly, Mfege and Mbella's 15 goals is the same as Hartlepool scored. That's the whole team got 15 goals as well in the first round. So the goal problems, or the push to get more goals in the team, has been very, very evident in Hartlepool's first round. But can Samuel Boadu turn it around? He definitely believes so, and he says his team would keep on fighting. It's just 12 points, and remember, both sides would have to meet again in Kumasi. 17 games remaining. We'll see how the second round of the Ghana Premier League pans out. My name is Orek Wampofo, and if you want some more sports stories, you can follow us on social media at Joy Sports GH, or you can check our website, myjoyonline.com/sports. I'll be back again later in the evening to bring you the sports segment here on the Joy News Prime.
And it will be a wrap on the Pulse for today. Don't forget to log on to myjoyonline.com. We have updates on all of our stories there for you. And also follow us on our social media handles. It's Joy News on TV. My personal handle is at Blessed Suga. We'll see you again next time tomorrow.